What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Oly Kanoli Show. Today, I had the pleasure of talking to Aleasia Brown. She is so amazing, and it was an amazing conversation to have with her about the fitness industry, what it means to be in the fitness industry, the pros, the cons, her favorite quote. But something really amazing is that she isn't just, strong and looks good and is healthy, but is someone who cares about nutrition, cares about the macros, cares about being a healthy person inside and out. And a really cool thing about I've learned in this conversation is that we're multifaceted. We're not just fitness influencers. We have so much other things that we do. So stay tuned. I'm really excited for you guys to listen to it. Thanks again for tuning in. What got you started in health and fitness?
I think what got me started in health and fitness is I have always been an athlete, always. I've always been in sports. I did rugby in college. I did cheer in college, also cheerleading, and I was in cross country. I was just in a bunch of sports. And I think that I always obviously had a passion for fitness and had a passion for helping individuals, but I didn't think that I wanted to take that route. When I first got to school, I went into business, and I thought I wanted to be a lawyer, and I thought I wanted to do business. Then I took some classes, and I was like, no, definitely don't want to do that. And then I had a conversation with my friend. It was junior year, and I was really debating what I wanted to do because obviously I had to declare. And then I declared, and he was like, you have a passion for fitness. Why aren't you declaring exercise science? And I was like, oh, duh. So yeah, pretty much.
Oh, it makes sense. And it's kind of funny because a lot of the times when you do something all the time or you love something, you almost don't think that that could be the thing you do.
No, 100%. And that's what I'm so blessed because I found my passion, and I think that a lot of people do not find their passion, or they just kind of do what they think they're supposed to do when they get to college, and they just choose the most successful route that they think is going to be the best for them, but they're not actually passionate about it. And I'm really happy that I took not the most. It's a very difficult route, and everyone's not successful with it. But I'm happy I chose my passion because obviously I'm doing very well for myself, and I'm very blessed to be, have found my passion and to be able to, do what I'm doing right now. So
of course. So exercise science. So when you declared that major and went into it, did you think you'd kind of get into like the social media game, or were you just kind of doing it because, again, like you love the fitness, you loved learning about the human body? So give me a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, I did not think that social media was going to be where I was going to go with this at all. I definitely was a little insecure in college for sure. So I just did not expect, didn't expect me to really want to delve into social media. I obviously had an Instagram and I would post like random, but I really wouldn't post anything fitness related or anything business related. So I kind of got into it just wanting to coach athletes. At first, I did an internship at a strength and conditioning facility, and I really loved that. But then, I don't know, I just was like, I need to start posting a little bit. I feel like I just need to change what I'm doing right now and kind of go towards general population and for the regular individuals who, want to improve their health and fitness life. So then when I started posting, it was kind of like a long process, obviously, to get to where I am right now. But I'm really happy I did it. But yeah, at first it was simply just, I'm just going into to learn about the body and things like that. And then I was like, I have a voice and I'm educated, so I want to help other people and weed out all the bullcrap that you see on social media on a daily basis. So,
yeah. That's definitely a thing, especially in like the fitness industry and like lifting culture. Like it's hard because, again, I played soccer in college. I loved lifting and all that stuff, but for me, like I thought people either didn't take it seriously at all or way overboard.
Yeah.
Versus like the bro science versus like what's actually going to make you a stronger, healthier athlete overall. And I love things like the power cleans, all these explosive movements that got me faster, stronger.
Right.
And we had like 3-4 weight training coaches in and out that kind of through our seasons. And I noticed I was like, the most important thing I learned from all of them was that it's more about the explosiveness, the movements, the taking care of your joints, the agility aspect. So give me a little insight, I guess, that something you learned through those years of college.
What I really loved about especially undergrad, I had a anatomy and phys class, and I think that really helped me a lot with obviously learning the body and learning very specifics about anatomy. And I think it's obviously very different strength training just for the general population and then athletes. So it's completely two different things, completely two different programming and things like that. So I definitely had to like retrain my brain in the way that I was taught in school, because kind of the way that we went through school, it wasn't really like general population focused. It was mainly athlete focused, obviously, because I went the strength and conditioning route. So then when I kind of got out of that and I went to get my certification after I graduated, and then I was like, okay, I think I want to change up. I don't think I want to train athletes anymore. I had to obviously relearn different things, and because what you use for athletes is not the same thing what you're going to use for a general population client. So I definitely had to change my kind of how I study and what I wanted to actually really focus on. But yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's cool because I also learned that you also went to kinesiology for your master's.
Yes.
So kind of, why'd you go for more schooling?
So honestly, it wasn't even planned that I was going to get my master's degree in kinesiology, but after I graduated, I just kind of was like sitting for, I would say like a few months. And then I'm like, I think, not to say that I didn't learn anything in my undergrad, because I did, but it was minimal. I'm just going to keep it a stack. It was definitely minimal. I think I learned a lot from like 3 classes, and I wanted more. Even though I had a certification, I think certifications are for legal purposes and just basic knowledge. But I really wanted to learn a lot more about specifically biomechanics. So then I went to California Baptist, and because I wanted a faith aspect as well. Mm-hmm. And I think that it completely changed the game for me and my education and my confidence as a coach. If I did not get my master's degree in kinesiology, I would definitely not be as successful, in my opinion, as I am right now. Definitely would not be as educated whatsoever. So I think just the drive to just be more educated, I'm definitely educational based. So I think that's always just been a passion of mine. I want to know as much as I can, and I want to be the best coach, and I want to have the science to back up what I'm saying. I don't want to just be, an influencer or whatever. No, I want to be educated, and I want to be able to educate my clients. So that's why I wanted to get my master's degree, and it was honestly the best decision ever. Then I got I got another certification with Dr. John Russin, the pain specialist certification, and during my graduate degree. And again, best decision ever. So yeah, I think just after my undergrad, I wasn't satisfied with what I learned. So
yeah, I definitely can see that, because again, me getting into business after graduating, it was really interesting to think that as I'm trying to build a company or look at all these different things, I'm like, wait, I didn't learn any of this in any of the classes I took.
Exactly.
I took a finance degree where it was supposed to be the hardest.
Yeah.
But what I learned was how to look at a balance sheet for hours. What I looked at is investment analysis and read the stock market. But I'm like, people don't need to go to college to learn about the stock market.
No.
They can just open the stock market, watch YouTube videos, look at the internet, and see all the resources available.
Yes.
So I felt like, what did I really learn about business there?
Right.
And that was kind of my dilemma with the university system. So it's kind of interesting that you kind of felt again, 5 classes were, oh, this really helped me. So I want to actually get more educated on this topic.
Yeah, out of 4 years, only 3 classes that, the first 2 years or whatever were just,
Gen Ed
and stuff like that. But I don't know. I just find it crazy how the amount of money that I have to pay back now in student loans, that I only really learned something from 3 to 5 courses. So, which is why I also really try to tell coaches who want to come in the industry, you do not have to go to school. You don't have to get a degree to be super educated in it. You can do your own research. And a lot of the best coaches don't have degrees in exercise science or don't have degrees in kinesiology. They're just really passionate about it, and they learn on their own. And you also save, thousands of dollars that way. So if you're willing to actually put in the work and learn, then you really kind of don't need to go the route that I went. I'm happy I went that route, obviously, because it definitely pushed me to want to do research on my own. And my master's degree definitely pushed me to do that and how to properly research and things like that. But that's definitely not something that you have to do. So.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. It makes sense too. And kind of going back to where you went, California Baptist, you said? Mm-hmm. So when you added, I guess, a spiritual aspect to your knowledge and your training and your learning, what about that kind of helped you kind of mold yourself into the person you want to become?
I think I was raised Christian. I was raised in the church. I've always wanted a relationship with God. I've always really wanted that aspect of things. But I didn't really, I just feel we just went to church when we were younger or whatever. But I think when I decided to actually go to California Baptist and actually to take my faith serious during that time, I felt like it really helped me with, I'm still working on it, patience and being able to kind of connect the dots of, this isn't just about just moving your body. You are blessed to be able to move your body. This is not just a thing that you should take for granted. It's not just, okay, I'm going to get my body better, or I want to look like this. There's such a deeper meaning to it. So I think that's why I wanted that aspect. and I think I just wanted to grow in my faith while also educating myself. So yeah.
No, it's awesome. And congratulations for that. Because again, for me personally to see that, it's like, okay, that's someone who's completing themselves, not just in a financial aspect or physical aspect, but again, that spiritual and mental aspect.
Yes, 100%.
And that's how you become more of a complete person.
100%.
So it's cool. And something I learned even my own religious journey is that I'm Muslim. So in Islam, something I learned was a strong believer is better than a weak believer.
Yep.
So it's like, take care of your body, be grateful for it, and be strong, be able to take care of people, be able to lift things, do the things that need to be done.
Yes.
And obviously like how David Gogg is like, oh, who's going to carry the boats, you know?
Yes.
But it's true. It's like you have to be able to be self-capable of whatever you need to get done.
100%.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm really, really happy and really blessed that I even chose that school. I think the way that I chose it was really random. I was just looking at random schools, and that school came up, and I didn't even know that it was a Christian-based school. And then I did some research, and it was a really great school for kinesiology. And then I'm like, you know what, like, why not take it, why not do a more religious route for myself, or why not do a more spiritual route for myself instead of just going to any school just because. And it also, I think it was a lot cheaper than the other schools that I had. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's awesome. And again, you have to save money nowadays with like you said, how expensive it is to then go to a school where you're only getting 3 classes. That makes sense.
Exactly. So, and I learned so much with my master's degree. Like, I don't think there was not a single class that I did not learn from during that time. Yes, I did it. I was supposed to be in person, but then my dad got really sick, so they allowed me to switch to online, which was amazing. So then I didn't have to actually go to California. I could stay here and take care of my dad and then still, have my education. So I was really blessed that they allowed me to do that. But again, like it was kind of, it was a little bit quicker. It was like a very fast-paced graduate degree. But at the same time, I think I learned so much in that time. They allowed you to adapt really quickly to things, but I really, really loved it. And I'm really thankful that I got the education that I did for sure from that school. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So I wanted to ask you, is like, what's your favorite like machine in the gym or like your favorite day? Like I know me personally, I do like a chest tries, buys back, shoulders, legs split. So what's your kind of favorite day or machine?
I am definitely a full body girl. So I do full body 4 days a week. I am now on a different program. So I do full body, I think twice. I just started this program, but I wanted to stop programming for myself. I'm so sick of it. So I program every day for someone. So I wanted to get another program, but usually I always do full body. I changed over to full body, I think after getting my PPSC certification. I think that was 2021 or something like that. And I switched to 3 days full body, and I absolutely loved it. My strength went all the way up. Like my strength increased so fast. My recovery was so much better. And then I wanted to add another day for a glute focus. So now I was doing, and I'm obviously going to go back to 4 full body days. So it's 100% my favorite. My favorite lift would definitely be either bench press or deadlift. A little bit bench more now, just because I got injured. My back is injured, but bench now, but deadlift and bench are definitely like my top.
No, definitely. It's exciting. Yeah. It's cool because even for me, like a lot of times I did like athlete training. Yep. It was a lot of that full body workouts.
Yes. Yeah.
But then like when I'm outside of like the lifting culture of like athlete, now I'm back into this chest tries day, buys back. And I enjoy it. I see strength, I see gains, but I will say the more explosive and energized I felt throughout lifting was when I was doing full body.
Oh, 100%.
But to find a proper full body split that works for you, I feel like that is like the hard part sometimes.
Oh no, it's definitely hard. And I definitely don't do super explosive movements like power, obviously power, but I'm not really doing like those explosive athletic movements any longer. Like when I was in rugby, when I was in school, then I was doing that, but now I'm not doing that. So I like to call it power building. So it's a mixture of bodybuilding and powerlifting all into one. So then I kind of get the best of both worlds. I'm not only solely focused on strength, even though that's my main focus, but I'm obviously also focused on hypertrophy so I can, get the look that I want as well. So
no, of course. Yeah. And so when it comes to free weights, industrial lifts, like what would you kind of say like is your go-to?
Obviously my love is always going to be with barbells, always going to be with free weights. However, recently, honestly, I'm going to keep it real. I think honestly when like the TikTok fitness industry started really blowing up, I wasn't really with machines that much. Like I would implement machines for myself, but not like that, not a lot. But then I think when bodybuilding, hypertrophy started to really become popular. And when I went to Supersets, which is, I would say, mainly a bodybuilding gym, that's where I kind of switched a little bit and I started implementing more machine work. And I think it did absolutely wonders for my physique, hypertrophy wise, completely like changed my physique for sure, training closer to failure and things like that. So now I implement both for sure. But I'm always going to be a barbell girly. I'm always 100% going to go to my barbells. But I do enjoy doing machines now. I do enjoy training close to failure and training till failure. And usually those things are the safest, obviously, with machine work. So.
And is that what hypertrophy is? Or?
Hypertrophy. Yeah. So hypertrophy, it's literally, So just making sure that you are obviously training close to failure so that you can inhibit muscle growth.
So do you think, again, like that's the most like effective way to get stronger is to go to failure?
No, it's not that. No, not well. I would say close to failure. So not going all the way to failure, going close to failure. Going all the way to failure is very useful as well sometimes, but not all the time because then just the fatigue on your body is going to be intense. But going close to failure with certain movements, obviously making sure that you're being careful with certain movements. Again, I mainly like to have my clients and myself go to closer to failure when it's more machine based or more like lunges or something like that, something that is not a super high risk. So if you're going to be doing deadlifts or squats or something, obviously you're going to be really pushing. You're going to be pushing the weight. You're going to be close to failure, but you shouldn't try to be going balls to the wall all the time with it, just because obviously the risk of injury is way higher. You know, you have a whole barbell on your back, or you're lifting hundreds of pounds from the ground. So you have to be very careful with certain things. But yeah, so.
No, it's awesome. That's great advice too. So how do you get past the ever looming plateau?
Okay, so it kind of depends on where exactly that you're at. So if you're in a caloric deficit or if your goal is fat loss to get out of a plateau, usually metabolic adaptation occurs, which is just your body kind of just maintains where it's at. Your body adapts to a certain amount of calories. We are very adaptive individuals, so your body will adapt to a certain amount of calories. So let's say, for example, if you are in a fat loss phase and you were consuming very low calories for a very long time, your body will adapt to those calories and then your body will plateau. Like you will plateau where you're at. So to get out of that, you either have to implement a reverse diet, or if you did not have, or if you weren't consuming really, really low calories and you were kind of fine where you were at consuming higher calories, obviously implementing something else. So changing up the stimulus, making sure the progressive overload is being continuously achieved. So either changing up your program, increasing your weight, increasing your sets, increasing your reps, changing up the tempo, something like that. Or obviously, again, really focusing on the nutrition aspect of things to get out of plateau. But plateauing usually just happens from being stagnant for a very long time at a specific thing or whatever. So yeah, just slightly changing certain things.
Oh, of course. And I guess for example, using me as an example. So for me, I'm watching myself work out consistently finally. I have a routine. I have a way to get things going. I eat pretty clean, but I don't want to gain so much weight and then have to lose it again, or gain weight to lose again just to have muscle. Is there a way to do that without, again, gaining the fat as well?
You said that you don't want to gain too much weight and then lose it again. Yeah, so body recomposition, just a slower process, not doing such of a high surplus. So that's kind of where individuals go wrong when it comes to being in a surplus, or when it comes to actually gaining mass. They think surplus, okay, I'm literally going to eat everything
like dirty
that I
bulk.
see. Yeah, I'm just literally eating everything I see. And then, unfortunately, then you see a lot of fat mass too when you do that. So a slower, more controlled surplus, I would say about 200 to 300 calories max over your maintenance calories would be the best option, so that you are not gaining too much fat. Obviously, you will gain fat because you're eating in a surplus, but it's not going to be like how you would if you're doing like a dirty bulk or something, or if you're literally not having any awareness of how much you're consuming. So yeah, I would definitely do a way slower surplus, and it's going to take more time. However, it's going to be way more better for you in the long run, and your physique's just going to get better. And again, when you then lose the weight and go back down when you go into a deficit to see kind of like, a more shredded look, then it's not going to take too long and you're not going to have too much fat to lose. So.
Right. Nice. Thank you for that. So is the rumors true about 1 gram of protein for every pound you weigh of body weight, or is that like, again, more gym myth?
No. So that's true. It kind of depends. So it definitely depends on the person. So if you are in a bigger body, and if you can there's many different methods to kind of go about protein. I do 1 gram, I do 1.2 grams. I eat a lot more protein. It's just easier for me to get in protein. Like it's like it's clockwork for me. I don't really have to think about it. It's a lot easier for me to get in protein. So I have a little bit more, and having a little bit more protein is not going to negatively affect you whatsoever. But if you're in a bigger body and you can either go by your goal weight, so pick like a goal weight that you want and then choose that for your 1 gram per pound. Or also you can do lean body mass. You can, obviously if you're going by kg, you can do lean body mass as well. So that's 1.2. And yeah, so it doesn't have to be exactly 1 gram per pound of body weight. That is like that's like the, I don't want to say status quo, but that's like kind of what people say, or that's kind of like the regular regimented routine of what you should do. Like you should be aiming for 1 gram per pound of body weight, but you don't really need that much, honestly. But again, more protein is not going to negatively affect you. Obviously, ensure that if you have more protein, that you're not just completely cutting your carbohydrates out of the way, or you're not cutting any other macronutrient out the way. But having a little bit more in your diet, like I do, is completely fine. It's going to maximize your recovery and maximize your muscle growth. So it's really not that big of a deal. But necessarily, I would say 1 gram per pound of body weight, dependent on your body fat percentage, depending on your lean body mass, things like that. So,
nice. So is the anabolic window true of like what time you ingest protein or what times you eat? Does that matter? Or as long as you're getting the calories in and the protein in and the carbs in, what's kind of like? Yeah,
no, anabolic window, no, that's been debunked for a little bit. The you don't need to, it does not like, okay, right after the gym, I mean, that's what we all used to do. Like after the gym, I'll have my protein shake. I'm like, let me get my protein in real quick. So no, you don't have to do that. As long as you're, I would say within like a window of like an hour to 2 hours, as long as you have a meal after, as long as you have some type of protein, of course you can just drink a protein shake after too. So it's not like right after. You have like, I would say like an hour or two, whatever, but as long as you're consuming a good amount of protein throughout the day, maximizing protein synthesis, as long as you are consuming enough throughout the entire day, then you should be fine. There's not like, you don't have to get it within that 20, 30 minute or like all your gains are lost. No.
Yeah. So when it comes down to like intermittent fasting, is that not going to help you build muscle as easily if you're not synthesizing throughout the day and you're kind of having like 2 larger meals, maybe like one at 6 and one at 10, and then that's it?
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of intermittent fasting at all. It is helpful in some cases. It depends on the person. It depends on the situation. But I do not have my clients do intermittent fasting. I do not do that myself, just because I think that obviously, again, if you're in a fat loss phase, usually individuals that do intermittent fasting, they want to achieve fat loss. So with that, all you're doing is just decreasing the caloric intake that you're having. You're just moving into a smaller window. So usually if you're moving in if you're decreasing the amount of time that you can consume something, you're not going to consume as much food as you were before. So that's all it is. It's just being in a caloric deficit. But the reason why I don't like it that much is because people usually binge at night. Like if you're not eating, then you're literally starving by the time that you eat. So you're binging at night, or you're not being able to eat fully, or you're just starving at the end of the day. Or again, you miss out on a lot of nutrients as well. Some people do it to the max to where they're just consuming so little of calories. So then again, you're not hitting your protein level. You're not hitting your protein intake, or you're not hitting enough calories because you're so restrictive with the time. So it's not that the time matters so much. But that's not something that I really support at all. Again, it's definitely dependent on specific individual specific situations for intermittent fasting. But I think for the general population, for the general individual, no, I would not suggest it, just because, again, like you want to be able to spread out your food. You want to be able to not be like scarfing down so many calories at once. Then bloating can happen, a lot of different issues. But yes, it is, I guess, like a quicker way of seeing fat loss because you're crunching your time that you can consume food. But I'm just not a fan. I just think you should be able to eat when you want to eat.
Yeah. So, of course. And so what other sustainable methods are there to, I guess, weight training, fitness, nutrition that you would kind of give out as well? So
the main thing that I obviously am for only sustainable methods. So I like to coach macro coaching. So that's kind of where I like to do my own thing. I like to really focus on macronutrients. And again, implementing reverse diets for a majority of all my clients. So making sure that their metabolism is in a better spot than where they came to me. Usually individuals, they come to me eating very little, regardless if their goal is fat loss or muscle gain. They're usually been consuming very low of calories, just because that's just how society pushes things out is eat less, get this ketogenic diet, get this keto food, get this low calorie food, So people are consuming so low of calories when they come to me. So usually we have to implement a reverse diet, but I like to do macro coaching because I don't give meal plans. I'm not a registered dietitian, so it's technically illegal for me to do so. So I don't do that. And also, I give out like mock meal ideas, but I don't give out like specific meal plans because I think it's very restrictive with individuals. I think they are restricted to what exactly you can consume on a piece of paper instead of being like, okay, well, what if this person wants to go out for their birthday? Or what if they want to eat out? Or what if they didn't make that food? Like, what are they going to do? Like not eat? So that's why I like to teach macros, because then it gives you a good idea of, okay, you have this amount, you have this number that you need to hit. And it's not obviously only about the number, making sure that you are paying attention to how the food's making you feel, what exactly you're putting in your mouth, paying attention to your fiber intake, your gut health, all that stuff into one. But that's kind of what the beauty of macro coaching and counting macros do. It allows you to have more of that balance, and it allows you to have more freedom within your nutrition and within your diet, instead of just being so restrictive to a piece of paper or so restrictive to a specific amount of something or specific type of foods. You can kind of eat what you like and really focus on how that food's specifically making you feel, because the way that a certain food makes me feel is not going to be the same for you. So so that's like the most sustainable method, is obviously choosing something that is balanced and choosing something that you can be able to sustain forever, like not just for like, a challenge, a certain amount of days or whatever. No, it should be that you can sustain this over time. So,
oh, that's awesome. Thanks again for that, that insight, because naturally for me, like going through my fitness journey, learning all these different things, I've kind of noticed that I don't count exactly how much protein I take anymore. I don't count all these little things anymore. And the reason why I do that now is because of that flexibility I've allowed myself. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out to eat. Okay, I know I kind of need something with a little bit of protein. Okay, I can get chicken, this. Okay, this is what I need to do. I don't want to have too much carbs, too much rice or this. So let me get a salad on the side with,
perfect.
But I'm kind of craving an appetizer. What kind of appetizer still fit in that window? So it's kind of cool that you kind of naturally are teaching that as well, a more natural way to eat. So that's awesome.
Just way more of a natural way to eat. And then it doesn't become as obsessive. I think that a lot of times now there is a negative to macro coaching as well. People can become obsessive with numbers when it comes to tracking your calories and your
like
macros.
the MyFitnessPal.
Yeah, because I have people use MyFitnessPal, but it can become certain individuals, like it can become a little obsessive and they're like freaking out over everything. Like, no, it's just to educate you so that you are aware of how much you're putting in your body, what's a protein, what's carb, like you're aware of everything. And then again, you can have more freedom when it comes to regular food. You can have more freedom if you want to go out to eat. I have clients that go out every single weekend. Like, do I love that they go out every single weekend? No, but again, it's sustainable to them. So that's what I love. So it definitely creates the environment to actually enjoy your life and to not be able to be like, okay, this is what I'm doing only for right now. I have to be super strict right now, but then later I'm just going to go off the walls. Like, no, you can be like this forever. So yeah.
No, it's awesome. So what kind of got you into like posting on social media? Like when you mustered up the confidence and you were like, you know what, I'm going to really take this serious.
I don't know. I think I'm just a very open book, and I think that I talk OD. So I think I'm just an open book, and I was very insecure at first posting, because obviously I'm looking at, when I started, I'm looking at all these girls who are obviously, have crazy amount of following and and doing all this and doing all that. So it's definitely like a mind game, but I think I just wanted to start helping people the right way. That's literally what I want to do. I wanted to start putting out information that can actually help an individual and not just be like, oh, look at me, I have a nice body. Like, because that's what I was looking at. I want that body, but it wasn't really helping me. It wasn't educating me whatsoever. So I wanted a different viewpoint. I wanted people to look at my page and learn from it. Obviously, also have fun on my page too. But I also the main thing is I wanted people to learn from me and learn from my page. So I think that's just kind of what gave me the confidence. Is okay, I'm I am different in my own way. Like I want to focus on education, and no, those videos don't do the absolute best, but that's okay. Like that's what I want to focus on. And, it got me here. So
yeah,
doing
no,
the right
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
No, it's awesome. And it's cool because even for me, like sometimes I'll be like, like the gym talk you see on Instagram, you see there, and you see all these, like, for example, I see guy content or girl content, but I tend to, obviously because I'm a guy, I tend to match to get guy content. So I look and I just think that when I'm looking at this, am I comparing myself to their journey? Am I comparing myself to how they look? But then any fitness influencer I've ever followed are the ones that are always just talking about the motion. They're just giving information, the value. They're not flexing how strong they are.
No.
They're not saying, I'm 260 and I do this and this. But I remember there's a guy named Jeremy Ether, I think I follow, and all he talks about is backed by science. He gives scientific articles and studies of which motions. He's an Asian guy. But he's
okay,
and I love his videos. He shows the motions, his little graphics and stuff, and it's so cool because I like learning about what motions are going to help me become stronger. Why the bench is statistically this is much better than this, and what could actually help you see the gains faster and smoother than the bro science.
Yes.
So it's kind of awesome that you kind of, again, you're offering the value of like the science-backed nutrition and the science-backed motions rather than, hey, look at me, like I look good.
Yeah, and I feel like it does not help people. I think I was looking at him Jeremy, a lot during like my education, like when I really wanted to kind of delve into the educational aspect of things, and he helped me so much. I love the graphics that he has. So I definitely didn't want just to be another girl who just looked nice, has a good body, and just lifting. Like, no, I just think there's a lot of them out there, and that's all good for them. Like, that's wonderful. Show off what you got. Like, I'm all about that 100%, but I want to actually educate someone. I don't just want it to be like, I don't want people just to listen to me because I look good. I want people to listen to me because I have the education behind me. So,
of course, that's awesome. And so kind of going into the social media game and being there, what are some like pros and cons that you've kind of learned throughout the game so far?
I think a pro. Let me see the cons first. So I think the cons is it definitely can take you away from reality for sure. It can, like when you're out or when you're doing something, like you're always like, okay, like let me record this. So I think it definitely can take you out of experiencing experiences and actually living in the moment and being present for sure. I think it definitely can. But at the same time, obviously it's very prosperous. So right now, like it is the best time to get into social media. You can completely change your life financially, emotionally. You can completely change your life if you actually put in the work and do it. So I definitely think the pros would be freedom. I mean, it's allowing me a lot more freedom. I can get more clients, obviously, from social media. All my clients have come from social media, except when I was at Superset. So my in-person clients are from there, but all my online clients are mainly only from social media. So again, it's allowing me to grow my business and allowing me to reach way more people. So you can reach a lot more people. And depending on, I think, any business that you have, again, it's just allowing you to have so much more outreach and for you to help more people than just word of mouth. But a con would definitely be just kind of taking you out of reality and always being on your phone. Like I'm literally consistently always on my computer or consistently always on my phone. So sometimes it definitely is hard for me to kind of take a step back and like put my phone down and not, be on certain things or not trying to be like, okay, what kind of content am I writing today? Like it's, I can be so absorbed with everything on my phone. So that's the only cons really, but, and obviously it can also be really draining too, because then you're comparing and but I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons though. So I don't think that the cons outweigh the pros.
Yeah.
So.
And especially it's like what you make of it, it's like, especially if you're like, I'm educating, I'm impacting the community. I'm allowing people to know there's good information out there to be received. Yeah. And for me, even as well, like obviously I don't like using social media that much. I don't like using my phone so much because then I just feel absorbed to this thing.
It's so easy
but
to feel
I know that I have a voice. I can speak to so many people about what I'm learning, what I'm talking about, connecting with so many different individuals. So when I do that, I'm like, this will help. This will be net positive.
Yes.
And it's hard sometimes to step into that light and be like, focus on just the positive because there's always going to be negatives when you look at them. So it's kind of awesome to kind of have that same mentality as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. I definitely think that, and there's so many positive things that you can do with social media. Yeah, there's a bunch of like weirdos who like be like and stuff like, but I think that there's way more positive that can be done from social media than negative things. So no, I think that there can be a lot more negative things, but I feel as though there's a lot more positive stuff when it comes to social media now than than in the past. So
especially when you have the right mentality for it.
yeah, and I think that now people can be so educated with so many things. Like honestly, TikTok is probably the best thing that I've ever downloaded. Like sometimes it can really completely absorb you, but the amount of stuff I've learned from TikTok, from like my regular household things or just life in general, it's like night and day. Like,
yeah, I feel like no one, like, you know, it's like, I read this article.
Yeah.
But really, I saw it on TikTok. And it's like, no one wants to admit it, but it's true. Like,
it's so true. Yeah, it's so true. And I'm, like, I just learned so many things, like, about growing up, about my credit, about all this stuff from TikTok, instead of, you know, things that we should be learning in school, but that we're not. So I definitely think that it has a really positive outlook on certain things as well. And I think that it can educate so many more people. So I'm happy that obviously it's a thing. And again, you can literally become prosperous from it. Like, you can literally change your life from social media. So yeah,
of course. Yeah. And it's kind of funny you say that, because even for me, like, I remember, like, when I got, like, more spiritual, more religious, I learned so much more about, like, my faith, my values and morals through TikTok. And I'm like, isn't it weird that this is the app that's made me better, a better Muslim, or better at my like religion and like faith? And I'm like, I kind of, it's funny to admit it, that it's true. Like,
and it's like, literally, it's sometimes when you're on it and like you're like thinking of stuff, like it comes up, and which is crazy. But
the algorithm
is just crazy, and you're like, wow, this is exactly what I needed to hear. So I think it has so many positive things, and I think it helps you feel not alone. I think all of us are very weird, and I think that sometimes we try to like hide that. And I think TikTok definitely exposes that, and I like that, because then it allows people to not feel like, oh, like I'm not the only one that acts like this. So.
Or thinks this way, you know. It's awesome to find, like, naturally a community of people. And even with the algorithm, something that I've even noticed is that everyone's like, oh no, man, the algorithm sucks, like I just see this. I'm like, that's because you keep swiping on that kind of stuff. Because I don't see girls dancing ever on my TikTok.
Either.
I don't see any of that kind of stuff. All I see is like Muslim content, fitness content, soccer content all the time. Like, that's all I see. I never see that kind of stuff. And it's because I don't actually watch that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it will show you what you are watching. So, you know, and as long as look up something different and start scrolling, start liking those things, then you'll start having a different algorithm. You start having a different page. Like, so yeah, look at your Instagram explore page or your TikTok. It shows you a lot about, you know, what you're looking at.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of going off that, like, with social media, like, what would you recommend to someone who's like, I want to get into the game, I want to start?
I would literally just say, just start posting. Like, stop thinking about it. I'm in a business mentorship, and we had like one of these calls, our weekly calls, and one of the girls that are now in a mastermind program came on, and she was talking about messy action. And honestly, it completely changed my mind on so many things, changed my outlook on a lot of things. You need to have messy action when it comes to these big steps that you're taking, especially with social media. Like, I think people overthink social media so much. When you're in the beginning phases, just start posting. Just start posting whatever that you want. Start getting content out there, because if you're sitting there trying to think of what exactly that you're going to post, you're going to become too obsessive, and you're just not going to post things, or you're not going to enjoy posting. So my advice would be just to start. You have no idea who you can help. You have no idea who you can impact. So I did not think I was going to impact as many people as I am now. Your voice matters, and your story matters. Even if you think that you don't have a story, you do. You just have to obviously do some deep work to figure out what that story is and run with it. Just start posting. That's what I would 100%, like, literally just start doing it. Like, immediately just start putting anything out that you feel connected to or passionate about.
No, it's awesome. That's great advice as well. So what is it about, I guess, gym culture that you like and don't like as well?
Okay, so gym culture, I think certain trends I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a huge fan of certain trends. Right now, again, I haven't been on TikTok too much, so I know one trend is like girl dinner right now that's happening, or like 75 hard, I'm not a huge fan of, or certain gym culture type of things, or when people now, I mean, Joey Swole's like really catching people on this, but taking videos of other people in the gym, making them feel like they don't belong, or making them feel really sad about themselves, or really, it's really discouraging, things like that, like trying to make fun of people. That is not what I'm about. So I think that side of gym culture, I'm not a fan of, but there's always a positive side of gym culture as well. So, but those type of things, like certain trends that are just not very helpful, or like trying to be funny, you know, making fun of somebody else is just a little inappropriate.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for me, it's like, even like when January comes along and all the people for the New Year's one, obviously, yes, the gym is a little more crowded. Obviously, yes, it's kind of annoying, right. It's annoying, yes. But when I see people who obviously they're trying to lose weight, they're obviously trying to do things. It's a positive. They're trying to change their life, even if you feel, oh wow, they're so packed. I always tend to see, like, I remember seeing someone who's like, I knew they didn't know what they were doing. Yeah. But I could help. And obviously, I'm not like a fitness junkie 100%. You can help, but I know what to do. Yeah. Gave a little bit of advice. And then 6 months later, I see the same kid still there. And I'm watching him get stronger, looks way healthier. And I'm like, oh, go work, man. And then it's cool to like, see that growth. Yes. It's like motivate people. Because again, like to be healthy, to be fit is an important thing in our lives. Because nowadays, we're so like sedimentary that we sit down at a desk all the time. Yes. We sit down behind our computers all the time. We're so sitting behind these phones. Remote jobs. Everything is so inside. It's like to be outside and do those things, it's hard. And it's even harder now. Yes. So then just giving a little extra encouragement and motivation to people around you in the community is important. So it's cool that you also kind of see that as well.
Yeah, and I also think that with social media, I think that obviously there's a lot of comparing that happens with individuals, like within yourself. Like there's a lot of just comparison. So I feel as though when you are already insecure about yourself because you're comparing to someone else, and then you're already in a very nervous space, a very anxious space of putting yourself in an environment that you are not used to, you have no idea what you're doing, and you're just going in there trying your best, and then all of a sudden you see you on TikTok from somebody making fun of you. Like, come on. Yeah. You know, it's so ridiculous. So I'm not a fan of that, but I definitely think it's lowering because of Joey Swoll, which is amazing, which is so cool. Again, like
he like calls everyone out, right?
Calls everyone out. Like social media can have such a positive impact, and people are not afraid to do it because again, you're going to get called out. So I think that I hate that. But I think it's definitely decreased now for sure, since that's, since Joey Swoll became like a thing, and since like people are calling people out who are actually, doing those mean things. But it's very hard for people to put themselves in a very uncomfortable position that they're not used to. So during that time, obviously a lot of people who may not be there forever, it can get annoying. It's going to be very, very packed. But again, somebody's trying to change your life. Even if they are doing it for only like 2 months, like they're still trying. So, like who cares? Like, you can move over. It's not that big of a deal.
Exactly. So what is it about 75 hard? Because I myself have seen 75 hard and 75 soft, this trend. And from what I know about 75 hard, it's that it's like a 45-minute workout inside the gym, 45-minute workout outside, eating healthy, having a strict regime, like nutrition diet, and sleeping, all these things. And on paper, it seems great. But what is it about 75 hard that you personally just don't like?
So I have mixed feelings. So with 75 hard, I really enjoy, obviously, what it allows people to do. So the challenge, feeling challenged, it really, I think, is a great thing for beginners to feel motivated to start. And for individuals who are, intermediate or really used to the gym and want to challenge themselves. I think it's great for that. I think it's a great Kickstarter or a great challenge. But at the same time, I think it can also put in really not sustainable habits. So 75 days, you do these strict measures. And yes, even though all these measures are positive things, I think the restrictiveness of it is not sustainable, which is why it's only 75 days, because you cannot sustain that forever, for every single day. So I think it can put a bad stigma into somebody's mind, or it can make them feel discouraged if after that 75 days, then they're like, oh, dang, like I can't keep up with this. Of course you can't, because it's not sustainable. So obviously, since I'm like a sustainable queen, like, I definitely would rather have, okay, like, yes, but be promoted as this is just a challenge. You don't have to continue this outside of this, but this is it's not an end all be all. You can get the same exact results from literally just doing sustainable measures instead of trying to do the absolute most to get results. You don't have to do the absolute most to get results. Right now, what I'm trying to implement, I'm trying to do the least possible to get the maximal results. Like, I don't want to be doing every freaking thing in the book. I want to do the least amount of work to get the best amount of results.
Work smart, not hard.
Period. So I think that, again, I think the premise of 75 hard makes sense, and I think it's a very positive thing, and people make amazing results on it. They look great. They look amazing. But I think after, it can also be very discouraging. It can either go both ways. People can completely take off with it and like, this is great, I'm going to continue this. Or people can get really discouraged and be like, okay, now that that's done, let me go chug 50 beers. Like, let me just go off the rails because you've been so restrictive. You could have just literally just like slowly decrease certain things out of your day for those 75 days and got the same results. So I think it's a positive thing, but I think it can also be taken negatively if you're not educated behind it. So
it's like create a lifestyle rather than force a strict regime about everything.
For just a certain amount of days. Like, I think that is the negative premise behind it, is that you're forcing yourself to be perfect during these 75 days. And then after that phase is done, then what are you going to do? Are you just going to go right back to eating how you were? Are you going to not go to the gym twice a day? Are you going to keep drinking alcohol? Like, because then that's going to reverse everything you just did. So you might as well just go more of a sustainable approach, or, obviously have the education behind you that it's not going to be like that forever. So you don't have to go balls to the wall consistently with every single method. You don't have to be perfect in order to get results. Like, that's just not what you have to do. So,
of course, no, and thank you for that insight. So how has creating a following changed your life?
I think it's changed, but obviously business aspect wise, like, again, I wouldn't have clients unless I, have my follower count. But I think that it also helped me not feel alone too. I'm recently getting out of a very toxic relationship. So I think with that, it helped me a lot with seeing other people go through healing processes and seeing other people kind of go through exactly what I'm going through, and to not feel super alone in all that. So I think that having followers, being able to have a voice and being able to be heard, because I did not feel heard, or I didn't have a voice in my relationship, I don't think. So I think being able to have a voice and being able to have impact on someone is so amazing. It's like it's really hard for me to explain. Like, it's just like an amazing feeling of being able to impact so many different people, and for that many people to connect with me in some sort. You're still connecting with me in some sort of way. So I think being able to feel like I'm not alone in my healing process, or that, again, whatever I say, like I'm very, I don't want to say graphic, but I'm very vulnerable on my Instagram when it comes to my captions and what I post and things like that. So I think when I get a lot of DMs and people saying like, thank you so much for being vulnerable, like, I didn't know you were going through that, and I'm going through the same thing. I think that is such an amazing thing to be able to connect and to be able to kind of like, vibe off each other and heal from each other, and be able to speak and, again, feel like you have a voice if you felt like you didn't. So
No, it's awesome. So how important is like the mental health aspect in not just your life, but in like the gym life as well?
Oh, it's so important. If your mental health, like, I mean, at least for me right now, this is probably the lowest I have ever been in my entire life ever. So, like, mentally, and it has completely changed the game for me when it comes to fitness and nutrition in general. I definitely think that my consistency is the worst it's ever been. So just because of where my mental health is, like, it has such a huge deal when it comes to it. And I think people don't really take into effect kind of how much of an effect it does have. Like, people don't take into account how much of an effect mental health actually has on your results and on being consistent and on staying in the game. Yes, for some people, it can completely drive you. Like, it can really be like, this is my kickstart. This is my driver right here, to use that. But other people who, I feel like, for me, who have been in the gym for a long time and who already, I don't need a kickstart. Like, I've already had it. You know what I mean? But I think that being able to be so advanced and being so consistent at one point in my journey, and then for something so drastic and traumatic to happen, and then for me to fall off when I'm a coach myself, like, I know what I have to do. I know what I'm supposed to do. So I think that looking for help, seeking help when you need it, and again, getting a coach if you are feeling like you can't do something on your own, which is why I got a program and things like that, and which is why I have a therapist, which is why I'm going to reach out to a healing coach or something like that. I'm going to reach out to her as well, just because, again, I need help. I need help with healing, and I feel like it's really important for people to acknowledge that it's okay if you need help, and to reach out to somebody, so that, if you want a fitness journey, if you want to be on a fitness journey and you feel like mentally you're not stable to do so, have someone that can obviously guide you and help you. So
yeah, that's awesome. And it's awesome too that you're sharing that, because it isn't all just glamorous,
No.
And people sometimes will look at people, oh, they have this many followers, oh, they do this, they do that, their life must be so dope.
Yeah, no.
But it's just not like that.
No.
It's like, and I was just talking to a guy who pitched for the Red Sox, and he was telling me that it's hard, it's like, we're not just athletes. We're human beings who have lives. We're multifaceted.
Yep.
And it's really hard sometimes to then be this multifaceted person in a society in where all they see is what you post.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I kind of wanted to be vulnerable and kind of change the way I was posting. Before, I was literally just posting fitness stuff. And then when my breakup happened, I kind of really didn't know whether I should start posting about that or not. But then I followed this one girl, Katrina, College Clean Eating, and she posts a lot of that stuff as well. She's very transparent with how she is in her healing and da-da-da. And then it kind of really inspired me to be like, okay, like, I have a voice as well, and I have a story. So I want to start talking about this. Like, this is something that I'm very much struggling with. So I want to see if other people are struggling with, or what methods that they did, or, whatever, like, get my story out there. So again, I don't know if I can help someone or if somebody can help me. So I think that's kind of why I really wanted to start being more vulnerable, so that people can see that it's not just like, I'm not just an Instagram girl. Like, no, like, I'm a regular person that goes through really difficult things. And I've just created a platform for myself, which again, I'm very grateful for. I have a long way to go, but I just created a platform for myself. But that does not mean that I'm not going through the hardest time in my life right now. So
I commend you. And it's cool because when I remember going through like some of, again, like those hard moments in my life, it was so weird because I still was going to the gym and consistent because I knew that's what I had to do. Yeah. But when I was there, I remember like going on the incline bench, and I looking up, I look in the mirror, and I just feel like my eyes started like welling up. And I'm like looking, I'm like,
stop.
I'm like, why am I, mentally I'm thinking like, why am I here when I feel so awful?
Yes.
But I was like, I'm here because I'm consistent and I make promises to myself.
Exactly.
Because if the world around me can lie to me and hurt me, I have to not do that to myself.
Yes.
And again, it's learning how to love yourself, learning how to be there for yourself. And in that journey, it was weird because people would ask me for advice still. I would act like nothing was wrong because I knew that I needed to be strong for other people.
Yes.
And it's kind of cool that you kind of have that same pull, and it's, know that you're not alone. Even hear me talking to you as well, like, know that I know how you feel, because I remember going through that thinking, I need to step up to the plate for so many people in my life that need me. But I can't be weak because I have to be strong for them.
Yes.
Not just for myself. But in turn, doing that for like people that you love and care about, in turn, then you're like, you know what? I have to love myself. And it's awesome that, again, like the mental health aspect of life is really important, and even more important, being a fitness trainer, because it's not just look good, but it's feel good.
Exactly. It's feel good. And I definitely think that when I go to my clients, I really would not be where I am without my clients. Like, they have helped me in my healing process. I'm not anywhere close to being healed yet, but they have definitely helped me so much further along. Like, being able to go in and being able to see their face, and being able to take my mind off of things and be able to focus on that, and to be, again, present and strong for them. Like, some of them didn't even know what I was going through until I would come in one day and be like completely off it. But, and a lot of people were like, oh, I didn't even know that you were going through something, unless they read my post or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, because I want to be strong for you guys, and I want to be able to put on that, I don't want to say, like, I want to be able to put on that strong face for you guys, to be able to show you that, like, even though I'm really struggling, like, I can still show up for myself, and I'm still showing up for you. So that means you can show up for yourself as well when you're going through something. So I definitely have to take my own advice for sure. Yeah. But
it's like leading by example.
Yes,
so that's
100%.
Awesome. So I want to kind of ask you, going back to more of like after the gym and stuff, and nutrition, fitness, what's some of the best advice you've ever received, and what's some of the best advice that you tend to give?
I think the best advice that I've ever received, at least for, honestly, when I got into this business mentorship, I am literally learning so much about myself, and I'm learning so much about the fitness business, and things to implement with my clients as well, is taking messy freaking action. Like, honestly, doing that, having that approach, and just starting something. Obviously, you cannot stay with messy action, but taking messy action and just starting something. So that's something that I can implement for my clients, and be able to push them and give them that push that they need if they are, questioning whether to get coaching, or if they're questioning, I don't want to go to the gym today or whatever. Like, you need to just start somewhere. You need to just do something. So taking that messy action would definitely be, it's definitely helped me as well in my business, of just stopping overthinking certain things or certain aspects of my business, and just putting something out there and not overthinking something, because, like, again, it's not that serious, like, chill. So definitely that would be the best advice I've ever received. Best advice I think I've ever given would probably be to let people know that it's a way longer process than what you think, and you probably need to reverse that, and you definitely probably need to eat more food. So let's start on a slow basis here, but you probably need to increase your whole caloric intake and kind of change your mindset, or change your goal right now. Like, maybe your goal should not be only focusing on fat loss right now. Your goal should be improving your metabolism. So I think that's probably the best advice that I can give, is just ensuring that your metabolism is in a good place, and to also not be starving yourself, and to kind of enjoy, and again, go through sustainable measures.
Yeah, well, of course, and thank you for that. So Is fitness something that you want to do for the rest of your life, or you want to be a fitness girl on Instagram for the rest of your life? Like, what's kind of like your goal genuinely with being in here?
My goal obviously is definitely to be a coach forever, but I definitely want to have a team eventually. That's not something that I wanted to do before my mentorship, but I'm definitely thinking about it. Huge trust issues when it comes to my clients. I'm very specific, and I don't like other people telling my clients what to do. So I'm very anal about certain things. So that is definitely something that I am open to now. I definitely have to do a little more back work before that, but I definitely want to have a team behind me so I can kind of take a step back and not be the only one doing things, and again, be able to educate others to, help my clients as well. So to create an actual, growing business. So that's definitely something. I do want to open up my own facility. I am moving to California. But I do want to open up my facility. I don't know whether I want to do it there. I don't really know where, but I know that in the future, I definitely want to open up like my own little studio or something like that. But obviously to take social media very serious as well. So I kind of want to do it all. I don't really have a specific thing, but I know I want to coach forever for sure. But obviously I am going to take a step back and be more on the business side of things eventually. But I still obviously want to have coaching because that's my passion, and I don't think that's going to go anywhere. Yeah. So. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. And it's cool because it's hard to delegate sometimes.
Yes.
It's hard to tell people like, hey, could you do this for me? But then
they'll be like, I don't like that. Yeah.
Are they doing it right? Are they doing it the way I want them to do it? And it's like having that control freak level of like wanting to make sure it's done right.
And I think that's with entrepreneurs. I think it's just very difficult to be able to delegate and to be able to take a step back and be like, okay, no, I actually need to hand this off to someone else. I need help with these things. I can't do everything by myself. I can't wear all the hats because then it's just not going to work that way. So I think just with entrepreneurs in general, that's just something that we struggle with.
Yeah, no, of course. And what is something, again, being multifaceted people, and that we're not just fitness influencers, right? What is something you think most people don't know about you?
I think I'm a pretty open book, so I think a lot of people know a lot of stuff about me. But I think the main thing would be that I am a huge UFC fan. I mean, I feel like that's like the only thing, and I take cats off the street like all the time. So those are like the two things. I'm crazy about cats now all of a sudden, and I watch the UFC every single week. So yeah,
oh, it's awesome. So. Do you have any like hidden talents or things that you like doing as a hobby that are completely outside of like the fitness game?
So I love reading. I'm a big book reader, huge. I am a Colleen Hoover whore for sure. Like I am a huge book reader now. I started, I think last year is when I started getting into books. And then I just got hooked. So honestly, I read books like in a day. I read books very quickly. So that would be like my hobby. And I do jiu-jitsu too. I just started. So I want to continue with that and maybe go into Muay Thai. But other than that, like I'm pretty much a homebody and I'm pretty boring. So yeah.
No, I completely get that. I'm similar way too, because sometimes everyone's like, oh, like do you go out, do this? I'm like, dude, like
I'm tired.
I kind of do my thing. Like I'm too busy throughout the day to like want to go out or do things because there's things I need to do tomorrow. There's things I need to do the next day where like
exactly.
I can't just have my body be so tired because I barely get sleep enough as it is. So it's like I need to make sure I'm taking care of myself in general. Yeah. So kind of going with that is like saying you want to get into more business and the mindset of it. Like what kind of got you into this mindset from just going from fitness influencer to posting and having the impact to, okay, now it's a business. Now it's going to this next level. What's kind of been like that journey for you? And what would you say to someone who maybe needs to muster up the confidence, or maybe needs to muster up the ideas to then get to that next level?
I think honestly, what has helped me the most is getting into my business mentorship. Again, I think this is like week 3, but the amount of stuff that I've learned in week 3 is crazy. Like the amount of stuff I learned in these 3 weeks is literally so changing my business and my life already. It's nuts. So I think that investing into a business mentorship, if you can, you're going to have to make some sacrifices, but doing that, if that's something that you want to start, because you can think that you know what you're doing in business, when really you really effing don't. Like I really have no idea. Like I'm literally just winging this until I got into this mentorship. So I was really winging it the entire time. So I think that obviously making sure that you have, even if you don't want to go into a mentorship, following people that you want to, I don't want to say emulate your life like, but seeing people that are doing exactly what you're doing and being very successful at it, not just talking about it, but showing you that they are successful with it, would probably be the best advice. Is again, and switch your circle up. If your circle is with people who are not in the same, I don't want to say not in the same field, but don't have the same drive as you, or don't have the same thought process, or they don't want more for themselves, you're gonna have to take yourself out of those situations or out of those relationships, or just kind of put it on the back burner, or understand that, okay, this is like a time for this and then a time for them. Same thing with the fitness industry, I feel. And in your journey, like, you're gonna have to remove some things out of your life in order for that to take priority. So if a business is your priority, then you need to definitely remove certain things so that can become your priority. So investing in yourself, it's not just investing in somebody else, it's investing in you and your business. And then again, following people if you don't have the means to invest, which is completely fine. There's definitely cheaper courses and things like that, or just simply following advice from individuals that you feel are, or that you see that are very successful with any field that you're in.
Of course. And even for me personally, I'm in like a free academy right now that basically helps me be a founder, be a CEO. And it's so awesome to then link and connect with these people, and then to give me this advice, kind of walking me through things, making me think about things maybe I haven't thought about.
Yeah.
Because you can't do everything yourself. So it's awesome that you say that. And another point that I kind of want to touch base here that you said was when you surround yourself with people. And it's kind of interesting because everyone always talks about like your 5 closest friends, your 5 closest friends. And I love that quote. I love the energy behind it. But recently I've been thinking, I don't even think it's just about like the 5 closest friends, but also diving deeper into the 5 closest friends, into the point of, okay, they want to be successful too. They're money hungry. They're focusing on the goal, success. Awesome. But are the 5 closest people to you, what is their why?
Yeah.
Why are they doing what they do?
Right.
And that has been something that I've been starting to think about. Only the last like week and a half, 2 weeks, I've been like, it clicked. It's like, I have good people around my circle. But what's their why? What is the reason why they want to do it? And then going into like maybe the fitness industry, why do they want to be in the gym? Are they trying to make an ex jealous because they want to look good? Are they trying to look good for people? It's like, I've never thought I want to be in the gym to look good for anyone. I've been in the gym because I wanted to be fastest one on the soccer field.
Period.
I wanted to be on the gym because I wanted to be strong and not get thrown off the ball. I was a kid who weighed like nothing. I was a noodle. And I remember having a coach look at me and he goes, "Oly, what are those hanging from your shoulders? Noodles?" And again, I was that skinny. I was so thin. I didn't have the right nutritional upbringing growing up that was sustainable for muscle growth. I didn't. So growing up, I was like, well, I'm the scrawny kid on the team, but I'm really fast and I can run all day. So I knew those were my strengths, but then I wanted to make my weaknesses my strengths. So then I learned like, why am I doing it? So then it's kind of cool you say like the 5 closest friends thing, because again, it's the why is really important.
100%. And that's a question that I always ask during my consultations with clients, potential clients, when they come and they're interested in coaching. The question is, what is the reason behind you wanting to do this? Like, because that's going to be the main thing. That's going to be the main driver of whether this is going to work or not, or whether you can sustain this or not. Because again, if you just come in and just thinking that, okay, I just want a bigger butt, that's not going to be, it's not going to last. That's going to get old real fast. So it has to be more. There has to be a deeper meaning to why you're coming to me. There has to be a deeper meaning to what you want, why you want to change. Like, what do you want to change about yourself, and why do you want that to happen? So that's definitely a question that I ask, is what is your why? This is your goals. Why is that your goals? What exactly what's this going to change for you? If you get to this specific thing, or if your body changes into this way, or if you can lift this, what is going to change for you?
So where do you see the world going in 5 years?
I think it depends on exactly what topic we're talking about. When it comes to economically, I'm not really sure. Hopefully it gets a lot better than what it is now. I'm sick and tired of paying $6 for my milk, but whatever. And I think mental health wise, I don't know whether, I think, again, with social media, they can go both ways. So I think with all the education out there, with all the help out there and the assistance, I definitely think it can improve. But I do feel with social media, it can also kind of go the complete opposite. So I think it definitely is going to depend. I think with the fitness industry, I think it's only going to improve from here. I feel like before, the lack of education, but not only that, the lack of awareness that other people have because they didn't have social media platforms. I think that is, I think now that we have that is huge. So I think that you can only educate even more, and we can really weave out the bull crap on socials, because again, people are getting called out. So we can weave out the bull crap and really focus on clear what exactly you need to do for this, like really clear advice and actually the education behind things. So I think with the fitness industry is definitely improving. I think with mental health, it kind of really depends. And again, with economically, hopefully it improves. So
yeah, no, of course. And even kind of going with the mental health thing, again, for me, like my whole thing is that I'm so adamant on improving people's mental health for the social media thing. And everyone knows like Instagram causes body dysmorphia. You're watching, oh, this girl's so much prettier than me. I'm watching this, oh, this guy has money, he's successful, he has all the cars. People will look at all these people's lives and everyone's just posting their glamorous moments. No one's posting the crap. No one's posting the other things. So you're comparing yourself. You're comparing yourself to other people's lives, other people's successes. And then that evil eye people are jealous. And there's so much negativity that spreads around that. And it's tough to be, especially in this industry where it's about the way you look and feel. And it's hard to like do both.
Yes,
you know? So
it's so hard to do both when it's so hard to be able to feel okay saying, no, I want to look this way. You know, I'm working hard to look a certain way, to then, you know, feel better about myself. Then that kind of goes into like, okay, like, are you just in this, you know, to look good? You know what I mean? Is that the only reason why you're feeling good about yourself? Because you look good? So it can definitely go both ways, but I definitely feel like if you have good balance and if you are prioritizing also your mental health on top of this journey, and again, not going into it for shallow purposes or not going, or even if you start going into it with that, it's completely fine to be like, no, I want a better body. That's pretty much why I'm here. That's okay too. But eventually to be able to shift your mindset, because again, just with physical strength, you are mentally going to get strong as well. So it's just going to take a positive turn, I think. So it's okay to have that first goal only, when you first go into it. But I definitely think it definitely changes over the course of you advancing.
And then making, like you said, sustainable.
Yes.
And that's huge because again, it's not sustainable to only look good for the gram. You know, it's not sustainable.
No.
But to feel good is sustainable. To feel good about yourself is sustainable.
Yes, because there's obviously you're only in the gym for an hour and a half, 2 hours a day. So, and you know, you're only taking pictures sometimes. You know, even if you take pictures all the time, like you are being a normal person for a majority of your life. So you need to be okay with that. Outside off of social media. So
Oh, it's awesome. So something I do on the Oly Kanoli Show is I always ask every guest that comes on, what is an Arabic word that you want to learn? And you said 2 more. And it was funny because I was looking, I was like, huh? I was like, but then it was so funny because in my head I was like, wait, like 2 left in the tank.
Yeah.
And I was like, clicked. I was like, oh, I see why.
Yeah.
So the way you say like 2 more is, so the word number 2 is itnain.
Itnain.
So itnain. So itnain. Kaman.
Kamen.
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 Kaman. Kaman would be the best way to say.
Kamen.
Kaman. It's like double A at the end, like kaman.
Kamen.
So the way you'd say it is like itnin kaman.
Itnain kamen.
Yeah. And it's like 2 more. So it's like it's awesome that you had that.
Thank you.
No, of course. And your next thing I do always is talk about the quote. And for me, the quote is a way to like really kind of dive into like what really moves this person. Healing isn't linear. So could you kind of talk about why that quote means something to you?
I definitely feel as though when like my breakup happened last year and things, and you know, to even look back, I can't believe it's already been a year already. But I think that I expected myself to be in a completely different place than I am right now. I think I expected me to be on like, you know, like back to normal, you know, whatever. But it's so much deeper, and there's so many different things that go throughout, you know, and obviously depending on the situation, there's so many different avenues that things can take. And it's so important to understand, for me to understand, and for also other people to understand, that healing is not linear. Like I really do compare my healing journey to other people. Like I was looking up on TikTok, like, how are people over their ex in 6 months? Like, and people are like, this is what you do, this is what you do, And I think it was very hard for me to kind of take that in, because I'm like, okay, it's been a year. And again, even though there's been so many different things that have happened within that time, it's still very annoying and very hard to understand that I am not where I want to be in my healing journey. But that does not mean that I'm not healing. And that does not mean that I am not on a proper path. Like, you know, I chose me. I said no, I chose me. So that is all that it matters. It's not going to be a straight path. You're going to bounce back. You're going to have moments of, holy crap, like I am so sad, I'm so depressed, like I'm crying. And then you're gonna have times where you feel great. It's going to have these twists and turns, but at the end of the day, like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And again, I'm saying this, but I'm trying to believe it as well. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and And that one day you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh, I am healed. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fine. But I think that sticks with me really, really intimately, just because, like, again, I compare a lot to what I see other people, what I see my friends, how quickly that they moved on, how quickly I moved on from my previous ex, and kind of where I am right now. It's very, very different. So, yeah, that's definitely something that I kind of keep with me, that, okay, it's not linear. It's not going to be one straight path. Like, I am doing my best at the pace that I'm going. So
No, that's awesome. And it's cool because even with me, like, I've obviously been through things in my life, and I kept thinking that way too. I'm like, when am I going to feel 100% again?
Right.
When am I going to feel this? When am I never going to think about them again? But the funny thing is even though it's been a good long, to me, a long time for me and stuff, sometimes I see a blue car or a green car or this, I'll think about it.
Yes.
It's like, why am I thinking about this car from 5 years ago? It's like, why is it that it pops up in my head?
Yeah.
If I even see that name out and about, I'm like, why do I get annoyed?
Yeah, right.
But it's like, is that always going to be who I am?
Right.
Is that a scar that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life? But now there's no emotional connection behind it, but there's an understanding that exists.
Yes.
And I think that's where you step into that, oh, how do I get to the next step? And it's so funny, you said, like, how do you get over it? I remember thinking, like, I remember looking it up, and it was like, roughly with men, it'll actually last a little longer than women, but it'll be a year and a half to but it depends on how long, all these different factors. And I'm like, who knows? Like,
who knows?
Like, you really could be over someone this time.
Yes.
But if someone had a real, genuine impact, or you genuinely love someone, it's not going to be overnight.
No.
It's not going to be even 6 months.
No.
Because 6 months is no time
None.
in anything, especially when you loved someone or cared about someone. Because you set your life upon forever with someone.
Yep.
Especially if you're dating to marry or you're talking to marry. You're not talking to them just to have a fling. So you're taking them serious and you're taking yourself serious. So when you do that, you're thinking long term.
Obviously 5 years is a very long time to be with somebody. So I'm always going to have certain connections with certain things. The UFC, for example, like that's something that me and my ex, that he introduced me to that. So obviously that's been I took a break from it for a very long time, but I'm slowly getting back into it now. So that's always going to have like a connection part. But when that emotional side is off, then that's going to be completely fine. And then I'll know that I'm obviously in a different place, but it definitely takes time with that. But knowing that I, got over my previous ex, and like, certain things I may like notice, but it's just like, I can say the name and be fine. I can think of those things and be completely fine. It's not like I'm saying like, oh my God, da da da.
Yeah.
So I know eventually I will get to that point. But knowing that healing is not linear, knowing that it's going to have its ups and downs, and it's a process, especially when it's a serious relationship. So yeah.
No, thank you again for the quote, because that quote really, it resonates with me too, because then it isn't linear. There's ups and downs in life. You're not going to feel 100% every day.
No.
But it's also like the atomic habits, where it's like 1% better every day. Some days you will get 0.5% better. Some days it'll be 0%. Some days it's 5% better. You got like that next breakthrough of that business mentorship.
Yes.
Boom, I'm clicking everything.
Yep.
So life is not just ups. It's not just an up, 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 or down, down, down. It's all of it combined. So I just want to thank you again for like stepping into here and sharing that and being vulnerable. Again, sharing a lot about the fitness industry and like the things about it that someone may not know.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, I enjoyed it so much. I find it's been a pleasure. And again, I'm always so like, this is my second podcast, like I said, and I'm always so like, oh my gosh, like you want me on a podcast, So it's always like, it's like kind of like that imposter syndrome thing. So I'm very appreciative of, you wanting me on it. So thank you.
Of course. So thank you guys again for tuning in to another episode of the Oly Kanoli Show. This has been an awesome individual here to talk to. It's been awesome to have this intense conversation, not just about the lifting and the fitness culture, but also about being vulnerable. So if you want to be on the show and sit where she's sitting as well, in the description below will be the form. Please apply. I'd love to talk to you. And again, please like, subscribe, share this to all your friends. And again, leave a bunch of friendly comments down below. And again, I look forward to seeing you guys again. Thank you guys again. See you later.
Bye.